Hey, what's up, everyone? It's Jenny Dildine, the LDS Mission Coach, and you are listening to the LDS Mission Podcast, episode number 162, Into the Unknown. I'm Jenny, the LDS Mission Coach, and whether you are preparing to serve a mission, currently serving, a returned missionary, or a missionary mama like me, I created this podcast just for you. Are you searching for epic confidence, ready to love yourself and to learn the how of doing hard things? Then let's go. I will help you step powerfully into your potential and never question your purpose again. It's time to embrace yourself, embrace your mission, embrace your life, and embrace what's next. Hey everybody, welcome to the podcast. I'm excited that you are here. I'm excited that you are listening. I'm excited that you are interested in missionary work and the mindset tools and emotional tools that a lot of missionaries find super helpful and super necessary to navigate the mission experience. And today we are going to talk about into the unknown. And I think that this piece I've addressed a little bit here on the podcast in the last couple of weeks, but I got another email today, well, not today, but recently, that kind of spoke to this concern that most of us have about the unknown. And I think it's a very common thing that many of us fear what we don't know and what's coming up and that we've never done before. I for sure noticed this recently in myself with some new opportunities and some new things that are coming up, that we kind of just have this default fear of the unknown. And so I want to dive into that a little bit today. I wanted to remind you that we are only a week away from Mission Prep Plus, the August session. The last day to sign up is next week on August 2nd. And then we start on the 5th. And so it's just been an incredible program. I was in there last night actually talking to some missionaries, and we talked about things like, I'm kind of worried. They'd say things like, I'm kind of worried that I'm going to get bored, that I'm going to get feeling like everything is too mundane. And, I'm not going to have enjoyment in just having this specific focused sort of thing that I'm doing every single day. And we talked about things like coping skills and what coping skills are necessary for the mission. And anyway, the thing that I'm really proud of in Mission Prep Plus is this idea that you get prepared, and we talk about the things that a lot of people just aren't talking about. Last night I talked to one person in there last night who was really worried about their screen time, and it's something that they're involved with quite regularly right now, and they're worried that when they get out on the mission that's going to be something that they kind of have withdrawals, that they don't have that screen time. And so all of these are things that we just talk about, we just work through. You get the skills and tools that you need. And plus, it's just really fun to meet other missionaries and other people who are going to be involved in the same thing that you're going to be involved in, and then working together to learn these skills and tools from each other, from me, from my coaches, from my RM mentors. And so it's a really great place to be. If you want information on that, just go to jennydildine.com and you can learn about Mission Prep Plus. Last month in July, so this session that we just wrapping up right now, is we were almost full. And so if you're interested in being in the August session, I'd highly recommend that you get signed up sooner rather than later, because we might fill up. So anyway, also, I just want to remind you guys, did you know that we do one-on-one coaching with returned missionaries as well? Like, we're not just only for preparing missionaries here. The way I picture this business and the stuff that we're doing here and the work that we're doing in the world, I pictured helping every aspect of the mission experience. And originally I started doing this work because I watched my sons come home from their missions and just really not know what to do next. And there was all sorts of challenges associated with that transition home. And so we want to be here for all of it. We're here to help you and support you if you're thinking things like, I don't know what my purpose is. I don't know what to do next. I don't know how to make decisions. I'm feeling like my confidence is plummeting, all of that stuff. We're here for all of it. And so I hope that this can be a really good resource for you to start changing the way you see yourself and start changing the way you see your role in the world. And once you figure that stuff out, super fun. You get to create the most amazing life. And that is what is so fun and exciting to watch happen with the clients that we work with. So if you're interested in something like that, one-on-one coaching, you can always, of course, just reach out, Jenny@jennydildine.com, or go to my website to learn more about that. So, okay, so I want to address today what I kind of mentioned it already in the beginning, but I got an email from a person, and I usually send out this email series with one of my free offers, and I'm pretty sure this one was to do with preparing missionaries. And so then at the end of one of those emails, I say, what is the thing you are most worried about for the mission? And if you feel brave enough, you can respond to that and let me know. And so this person said, I think the number one thing I'm worried about my mission is the unknown and how I'm going to react to the unknown. And this, you guys, I was like, yes, this is why you need to come to Mission Prep Plus, right? Is because that is what we're all worried about. If we really break it down, we're not scared of the thing that is going to happen. If we really think about it, what we're scared of is how we might react in the unknown situation. Like, how am I going to feel? What am I going to think about that? What am I going to do? How am I going to show up? And this is why it can be so powerful to figure out how you're going to show up no matter what, who you're going to be, what you're going to think, what you want to believe about yourself and about what you are doing on the mission or what you're doing after the mission. When I was thinking of this episode, of course, Into the Unknown, the song from Frozen 2 came into my mind. And the one that Elsa sings, and she has that little voice that's kind of calling her, and I could sing it for you, but I probably won't today, even though I have been known to sing a little ditty here on the podcast from time to time. But she just basically hears that voice and it's calling her, and she feels like there's something more for her. And maybe this is how you feel. Maybe you're thinking something like, yeah, the mission is going to offer me something more, something awesome, something amazing. Maybe you're just feeling that pull to get out there and serve and to help and to share what you know about Jesus Christ with other people. Maybe you're home from your mission and you just feel like, I think there's something more. I think I could be doing more. I think I could be sharing more. I think I could be offering more help to more people or contributing more. And I think that we all have this voice within us, right? This little thing that pulls us along towards something new, something more, something greater than what we just are right now. And sometimes we can use that voice against ourselves, which I've talked about in a lot of other podcasts, but this voice is very important, this like longing, this desire, and I think it's something that our heavenly parents gave us. So this part of the song I thought was really interesting is that Elsa says, I've had my adventure. I don't need something new. I'm afraid of what I'm risking if I follow you into the unknown, right? And this is one of the things our brain tells us is if we got this pull to go do something new, to go do something bigger than what we are right now, is we try to tell ourselves, our brain's like, nope, you've already had your adventure. You don't need anything new, and then we're afraid of going into the unknown. And when we think about the unknown, what we're actually talking about is not knowing how we're going to feel, not knowing how we're going to think and how we're going to solve problems in that future, what we're going to experience. Okay. And it is a risk. That is one of the things I want to say, is that it is a risk. You're risking feeling some uncomfortable feelings. You're risking maybe feeling embarrassed or overwhelmed or insecure, right? It is a risk, but it's usually not a dangerous, quote unquote, risk that we're taking as far as our physical harm is concerned. But our brain gets really worried about that emotional risk of being that vulnerable and putting ourselves out there. And so we've got this uncertainty ahead of us, whether we're coming home from the mission, we're like, I planned my whole life up till now, and now I don't know what to do next, right? That uncertainty, how do we deal with it? Like, how do we know what to do when we don't know what's next, when we've got that uncertainty? I was talking to a client recently, a one-on-one client, and he has his whole mission is they're kind of splitting it in half, and another mission next to him, they're splitting it in half, and then they're creating a whole new mission with a whole new mission president. And there's a lot of unknowns. And I would say that one of the most unknown things is a mission, right? We've just got so many variables with companions and people you're going to meet and mission presidents and areas and people we're going to serve. And there's just a lot of variables and unknowns. Now, what's actually true is that's a fact about our entire life. Our brain actually tries to sort of predict what's going to happen in the next little bit, but really we don't know what's going to happen in the next little bit. We think, I'm going to sit here, I'm going to record a podcast. I'm probably going to record batch a couple podcasts. But who's to say, like my daughter might come home from Target and say, hey, Mom, I need help packing for girls' camp or whatever. All of us sort of live in this unknown space. And so I came up with a list of a few things to do and to keep in mind while you're in this uncertainty. Like, what is it that gives us the power to leap into that new adventure, that new experience, kind of like Elsa did? She just went for it, remember? And she found out all this stuff and she learned a whole bunch of stuff about herself and actually ended up saving a whole group of people and freeing them from like a curse and things like that. And so when we're willing to feel this uncertainty, then it actually creates an opportunity for us to grow. Okay. So here's a few things I'll offer you for if you're about to do something that you've never done before. Number 1, avoid questions and what ifs, because our brain just loves questions. What if we have a bad companion? What if I this? What if no one wants to like date me when I get home? What if I can't get married? What if I have a hard companion? What if these people don't appreciate the lesson I share? Our brains love what if questions. It's a way to keep it spiraling and from moving forward and keep us in confusion. So if you can, avoid questions and what ifs and instead start offering yourself statements. Like, instead of asking, what if these people don't like the lesson that I taught, or it's what they didn't need to hear it that day or whatever, change it into a statement and be like, if this isn't something that these people needed to hear today, then I'm going to do blank, or then I'm going to feel blank, or then I'm going to offer blank. Okay. Or let's say you're home from your mission and it's like, what if I fail this test? And you're studying and you're going through all of the motions to get your degree or whatnot. What if I fail this test? Instead of asking questions, change it into a statement. If I fail this test, then I will blank. If I fail this test, then I can blank. Okay, that will help a lot. Number 2, stay really present. Because what our brain likes to do is it likes to run off to the future, create all sorts of worst case scenario things that could go wrong, right? So you can just stay really present. If your brain's like, I was just listening to a farewell when I was out of town this weekend, and he was like, yeah, my brain started telling me all the reasons I shouldn't go on a mission and how hard it was going to be and all of that. And he was like, for a second, I actually considered that maybe I wouldn't because I was so worried about all of the uncertainty and the unknown. But if he could have just been like, I'm just doing today. I'm just getting my shoes. I'm just like getting my suit altered. I'm just getting a new set of scriptures or whatever it is. I'm just going to my mission portal and watching the safety videos, whatever it is. Stay really present and connected to what's happening right now, because your brain will want to run away and just be like, hey, listen, brain, come back to right now. What's happening right now? And then, which brings us to number 3, is only take the next step. I've sort of watched this with my daughter this week because we've had some mission farewells, baptism of my nephew. We also then, have girls camp. And then after that, we're going on this big trip to Europe. And then we get home 2 days before my kids start school again. And I've watched my daughter, her brain is spiraling like, oh, then I got to get my school clothes and I got to this and I got to take care of my parking permit and I've got to make sure my car is clean and all of that. And you can do that. I'm not saying we don't want to think ahead a little bit, but what's really grounding and helpful when we're going into something that's uncertain is only take the next step. When your brain wants to be like, what about all this other stuff? We can just be like, no, brain, let's just figure out what's the next step. I do this all the time. When my brain's like, oh, all of this stuff, how are we going to reach all the missionaries? How is this going to help anybody? Is this even going to work? Right? There's those questions. Then I get really present and I'm like, okay, what about today? And then I only take the next step. It's like, okay, if I did know what to do next, what do I think I would do next? And we can do that. Or maybe if you're a return missionary and you want to get a job, right? It's like our brain wants to go all the way. Like, what if we can't find a job? But then we can stay really present, be like, okay, what needs to happen today? And then just take the next step. Maybe the next step is researching online for 20 minutes what available jobs there are in your area. Okay, so just take the next step. Here's an interesting one is, how I teach that thoughts create feelings. And so I usually recommend that we don't think the thought, I don't know, because that puts us into confusion. It prevents us from moving forward. But number 4 on this episode today, I want to talk about how I don't know, that sentence or that thought in your brain doesn't have to be a problem. I was talking to this missionary about this with his mission, that the new mission that's being formed is, he was like, I just don't know what it's going to look like. And he was making that a problem, as if he needed to know in order to feel safe and secure about what was going to happen. And I was like, but what if I don't know is kind of fun? So you can make your I don't know almost like I can't wait to see, and make it exciting and fun. I don't know what my trip to Europe's going to look like, but it's kind of exciting and fun to see how it unfolds. And that's one of the things that this missionary and I talked about is, instead of being like, I don't know, and that's scary and that's a problem, make it be like, I don't know, and it's going to be so cool to see what happens next. Okay, almost like you're watching a movie, like you're going to see the end of a movie and you're like, oh, I can't wait to see how this turns out. Okay, number 5. This one is so important. And if I could shout this from the rooftops for missionaries all over and return missionaries all over, get really good at feeling. You have to. You have to get really good at feeling your feelings. Now, sometimes we're going to want to cope with those or avoid them or not feel them or push them away. And you can do that. But the better you get at feeling, the more you'll be able to face the unknown. It's a sentence that sounds like this. Like, I might feel anxious on the mission. I might feel some overwhelm. I might feel some fear. And I'm willing to feel those things. I totally can. And I'm going to get really good at feeling. Because if you're really good at feeling, this is where you can start to rely on yourself. Like this missionary in the beginning that said, I don't know how I'm going to react to the unknown. This is you practicing reacting to the unknown, is when you get really good at feeling the uncomfortable feelings. And I have all kinds of podcast episodes about feeling your feelings and emotions and all of that. Okay, number 6, be open to the idea that it could be amazing. Because our brains sometimes want to be like, that's going to be terrible. This is going to go wrong, and this is going to go wrong, and you're going to have a hard companion, and you're not going to have your coping mechanisms, and you're not going to have, your regular things that you like to do or listen to. But open yourself up to the idea that it could be awesome, and just spend a little bit of time even thinking about why the uncertain thing could be awesome and amazing, right? Or maybe if you're interviewing for a job post-mission and your brains wants to be like, that's going to be terrible. What if this? What if that? Be open to like, I could actually maybe land my dream job. That's totally possible. And just spend a little time focusing on that possibility as well. Okay, number 7, I want you to remember that the 50-50 rule applies no matter what. So our brain kind of likes to tell us the past was either good or bad, or the future is going to be good or bad. And here's what's true is every experience we have is both. We know this because even though Disneyland is the happiest place on earth, that you still have days where you're tired and grumpy. Okay? Even all of the things that we do in our day-to-day that we think, quote unquote, make us happy, those things still from time to time, we feel grumpy and sad. That's because the feeling doesn't come from the experience. The feeling comes from your thoughts about the experience. And your brain goes with you on your mission, and your brain comes home with you on your mission. And in Mission Prep Plus, one of the people in there said something like, oh, well, then I'll just be able to hack my way, and then I'll never have to feel sad or uncomfortable again. And you can guarantee that as soon as you start feeling a little comfortable and get a little bit like, oh, I've got this figured out, life is going to present to you another opportunity to get uncomfortable and to get in the discomfort zone, because that's where the growth zone is. I was talking to a returned missionary on a strategy call, and she was talking about how uncomfortable it was going to be to sort of get outside of herself and go find a new job. And there was all that uncertainty after coming home and not knowing for sure what she wants to do. And she had some ideas of things that she wanted to do, but it was sort of like a dream that she had of what she would want to do eventually. And she said, but I don't know if I can, because that feels super scary. I feel a lot of fear, and I feel a lot of discomfort thinking about doing that. And I said, yeah, of course you do. And what are you going to feel if you don't do it? There's going to be a lot of fear and discomfort from not doing it. And so I just like to think of, we've got fear tackling something uncertain, and then we've got the fear of never doing anything if we just stay where we are. So we've got fear, and you just get to choose which fear you want. Do you want the fear that gets you closer to what you're going for, or do you want the fear that keeps you where you are? And either is totally fine. There's no judgment here, but why not choose the fear, the flavor of discomfort that gets you closer? Because think about this. Fear feels like fear in your body, whether it's fear of going on a ride you've never gone on before, or fear of speaking in front of people, or fear of interviewing. It feels the same in our bodies. And so why not just allow the fear for something that gets you moving towards the life that you want to create in the end. Your brain's going to go with you. You're going to have fear either way. So you get to choose. I think of it kind of like a ice cream flavor. Do you want Rocky Road fear or do you want mint chip fear? You just totally get to decide because your brain is going to always offer you thoughts for both. Okay? To feel feelings that feel good and for feelings that don't feel good. And so just pick. Finally, what I want to end with, and I think I've alluded to this many times on recent podcast episodes, but here's the only thing that is constant in our lives is change. And I know that you've probably heard that before, but I want us to really think about it. In our life experiences, the only way that our emotions aren't going to fluctuate or change on a daily basis, or our thoughts aren't going to fluctuate or change on a daily basis, or experiences aren't going to change on a daily basis is if we were sitting in a box of white walls for the rest of our lives. But even that, notice how at first it would be like, oh, good, I don't have to deal with all this uncertainty. But then you'd have uncertainty about being in the box, right? For the rest of your life. So the only thing constant is change. And the only certain thing is uncertainty. And so get really good at feeling it. Get really good at facing it. Get really good at diving into the unknown because truthfully, most of it is unknown. Most of it is. But even when everything outside of you is unknown, you can be certain in yourself. And that's why I love this question of this missionary in the beginning. I think the number one thing I'm worried about for my mission is the unknown and how I'm going to react to it. So figure out how to react to the unknown. Don't let it run you around or jerk you around in your life and pull you in all these different directions or cause you to hide in a corner. Learn how to react to the unknown and the uncertainty. And I hope these 7 things will help you. Number 1, avoid questions and what ifs. Number 2, stay present in the moment. Number 3, only take the next step. Number 4, don't make I don't know a problem. Make it fun and exciting. Number 5, get super good at feeling feelings that are uncomfortable. Number 6, be open to the possibility that it could actually, the future be awesome, like better than you could have ever imagined. And number 7, the 50-50 rule, 50% comfy emotions, 50% uncomfy emotions applies no matter what you do. No matter if you're sitting at home or you're going to get the job, or you're sitting at home and going on the date, or sitting at home or going out and tracting, you're going to feel 50-50 emotions either way. So put your effort towards feeling the emotions that get you closer to what you want. All right? All right. Here's to all of us jumping full force, full-fledged into the unknown and be willing to feel and experience all of it. Okay? Everyone have the most amazing week, and we will talk to you next time. Serving a mission for the Church of Jesus Christ of Latter-day Saints can present a unique set of challenges. And many of those challenges you might not even see coming. So you're going to want a unique set of solutions. It's easier than you think to overcome worry and anxiety, serve the successful mission you've always dreamed of, and navigate your post-mission experience with confidence. That is why I created some amazing free goodies that I'm sharing in my show notes. Maybe you'll want to grab the free training for preparing missionaries, my video course for RMs, or maybe you and I should hop on a free strategy call. If you're ready to take your preparedness to serve or your preparedness to come home to the next level, then go grab one of those freebies. And in the meantime, no matter which part of the mission experience you are involved in, just know that Jenny, the LDS mission coach, is thinking about you every single day.